democracy is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Come on, y'all. When democracy is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When racial justice is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When women's rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When trans rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When voting rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When democracy is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
So the next person I'm bringing to the stage is someone who's always stood up, who's always fought back, fought for the little guy, the little person, the little people, the working people. I recently had a trip to Washington, D.C., and I had a chance to go meet with him and talk with him. And one of the things that we talked about was the threat of voting rights. And we talked about how people in our households would not be able to vote if this terrible Save America Act gets passed.
Yeah.
He recognized that. He understood that. He empathized with that. And so the question to him is, how will you safeguard free and fair elections in November? Brothers and sisters, community members, give it up for our Senator, Ed Markey!
Yeah.
Thank you, Massachusetts revolutionaries, for coming out today. Because across our nation, we are witnessing a dangerous attempt to concentrate power in the hands of one man, Donald Trump, to silence dissent, weaken our institutions, and erode the very foundation of our democracy. They dress it up in slogans. They disguise it in legislation, but we know the truth. And just this week, Elizabeth Warren and I fought back against the so-called SAVE Act, a bill to block millions of eligible Americans from exercising their right to vote. And let's be clear about who Trump is targeting. If you are a black or brown voter, if you are a voter with a disability, if you are an LGBTQ voter, if you're a trans voter, if you are a young person or someone who has changed their name, including married women and members of the trans community, they are trying to make it harder, if not impossible, for you to cast your ballot. This is not about election integrity. It is about voter suppression, plain and simple, because they are frightened. They are afraid, because the people are rising across our country. The SAVE Act should really be called the Save Their Asses Act. Because the people are up and they're ready to fight. Because Donald Trump and MAGA Republicans know they cannot win an election in 2026 if every eligible voter, every eligible American gets to vote. So instead of earning support, they are trying to rig the rules, because when more people vote, MAGA loses.
Yeah!
This is not about protecting democracy. It is about deciding who deserves to participate in our democracy. And Donald Trump is not hiding his intentions. He has called for nationalizing the voting. He has said he would invoke the Insurrection Act, deploying military into our communities, taking control of the polling places and counting the votes himself. Donald Trump has shown us who he is And as Maya Angelou said, when someone shows you who they are, believe them the first time. And Donald Trump is a walking, talking constitutional crisis every minute that he is inside of the Oval Office. That's why it is the Save Their Asses Act, because the people are angry and they're coming for him. And what we are seeing now is merely Trump and MAGA's latest attempt to rig the system because they are scared. They're scared of the movement we see building all across our country. People speaking out, organizing, demanding better. They're seeing the elections in state after state. They are scared of the millions of people who are horrified by just how far this administration has gone to cling to power, targeting immigrants, targeting the trans community, singling out those who are already too often pushed to the margins. They're scared because at the same time, while Trump is imposing illegal tariffs, pursuing an unconstitutional, illegal war in Iran, families are struggling here at home. The cost of living is up. The cost of gasoline is up. The cost of natural gas is up. The cost of home heating oil is up. Housing is more expensive. Rent is up. Utility bills are up. Groceries are up. Gas prices are soaring, and instead of lowering costs or helping working people get ahead, they are doubling down on policies that make life harder. They are cutting Medicare, cutting Medicaid. They're slashing education. They have turned the EPA into every polluter's ally. And they are tearing apart our immigration system. And when they can't defend those choices, they try to distract us, to divide us one against the other. They are flooding our streets, our communities with agents from ICE, agents who have torn families apart, agents who have murdered innocent people in our streets, agents whose actions have left communities grieving and afraid and targeted. And just this week, as agents were deployed into our airports, one of Donald Trump's closest allies, Stephen Bannon, said the quiet part out loud, calling it a test run for sending agents to polling places.
No!
Not to protect voters, but to intimidate voters. Not to strengthen democracy, but to scare people away from participating in democracy. And that is exactly why I was the first senator to call for abolishing of ICE. We cannot have this reckless gang of vigilantes roaming the streets of our country, because this moment demands more than outrage. It demands action. And here is what Trump and his cronies fear most. They fear the power of the people when we come together, like each and every one of you gathered today. And I promise you that I will continue to fight every day on the United States Senate floor, making the enemies you would make, fighting the fights you would fight, to protect the values of those who are most vulnerable. Because the real power has always been with you. Because the story of America has never been about those who seek to rule. It has always been about those who rise up to be heard. And we cannot wait for spineless elected representatives to show any courage. They have all had a courage bypass operation in the Republican Party. So that is where we are. The American Revolution started right here on Boston Common. They rose up and they fought the most powerful military machine in the world. They fought and they won. The abolitionist movement, it started right here on Boston Common. They were not knocked out. They got up, they fought, and they won. The suffragette movement, it was started right here on Boston Common. They were were not knocked out. They got up, they fought, and they won. The civil rights movement, the freedom riders, they started right here on Boston Common. They were knocked down, they were not knocked out. They got up, they fought, and they won. The same-sex marriage movement started right here, Boston Common. They were knocked down, they were not knocked out, they got up, they fought, and they won. The universal health care movement, the anti-Vietnam War movement, all right here, Boston Common. You are the revolutionaries. You are the hope that our country needs in order to be successful, because you don't wait for change. We do not accept kings. We do not accept tyrants. We do not accept anyone who believes that they are above the law. And today, we once again say to the rest of the nation and to Donald Trump, we are ready to fight. Are you ready to fight? Are you ready to stand up? Are you ready to make sure that at the elections this year that we get rid of the Republicans in the House and Senate to restore true democracy in our country? Thank you, Boston. Thank you.
Good luck, Ed Markey.